Authenticity. I've been consciously on the spiritual path for 16 years now, and I don't claim to be an expert on anything. The biggest room is the room for improvement, I believe. Yet I know within I have everything I need. That is the conundrum of being a spiritual being in a human form. We have everything we need within, yet we're always going to be a work in progress, or rather, a masterpiece in progress. I heard some good advice once. Teach what you know. What do I know? What I know for sure is that if I can transform my life from anger, pain, pity, poverty, abandonment, fear, and worry into a life of fulfillment, inner peace, joy, gratitude, great health, surrounded by love, living my truth and divine purpose, that it is possible for you as well. It is possible for anyone because we are the same. And while every day is not perfect by far, I still go down into the dark place time and again. The time I spend there is minutes versus days, weeks, months, and years. I spend more time happy and peaceful than stressed out and angry. Progress. Success is measured in not what you have, but what you have to overcome. Success is measured in not what you have, but what you have to overcome. Yellow Submarine. During a healing session / angel reading with my Reiki teacher, out of the blue, her computer came on and started playing music. She turned around and said, "That's strange." I was surprised that she would think something like that was strange. In our woo-woo world, these things happen on a regular. I looked at her in confusion and she said, "It's strange because I don't have that song on my playlist." Oh, that changes things. She tuned into spirit and said, "The song is for you." I knew that already, though. It was a song I chanted during my long-distance swims, which she had no knowledge of. Your angels want you to know that when you go down to that dark place of despair and you feel like you're alone and drowning, remember, just like a submarine rises back to the surface, you too will emerge and rise back to the top. Another speechless, teary-eyed moment, and that is why I love God and my angels so much. I could not have been given a more perfect message. Every time after that, when I felt like I was going down to that dark, scary place, I just started to hum Yellow Submarine by the Beatles and remembered I would rise back up. We are the cage and we are the key. We live in a world that worships limitations. Tama Kieves. During my St. Ignatius retreat, one of the insights I arrived at was why we continue to do things that cause us suffering. "Do you want to be in the passion or the resurrection?" asked my spiritual director. We are so used to the struggle and suffering that it becomes our comfort zone. When we are given an opportunity to escape, we let it pass by. Why? It's what we're used to. It reminds me of the story of the elephants. They were trained to remain in place by having a shackle placed on one leg, which was then chained to a big tree. Neither the shackle nor the tree was going anywhere. After a period of time, the trainers would remove the chain from the tree, but leave the shackle on the elephant's foot. The elephant, technically free to roam about, stayed in place, having been conditioned to do so. We are conditioned just like the elephant. One of the most important things we forgot is that we are free. We are free to make our own choices, to think what thoughts we choose, to experience anything we would like to. It's the rote routine, conditioning, and programming that keeps us shackled. We become bound by the mental and emotional shackles that we keep around our mind and our heart. Albert Einstein said, "The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant." We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift. Bob Marley, "Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds." The entire world is based on our own projection, which stems from our beliefs and thoughts. That is why yoga does not bother much about changing the outside world. There is a Sanskrit saying, which I will say in English, "As the mind, so the man. Bondage or liberation are in your own mind." Maybe that's how Nelson Mandela, one of my inspirations, managed to spend 27 years in a tiny prison cell, subjugated to physical, mental, and emotional suffering, only to get out and become one of the greatest leaders of all time and president of South Africa. He was practicing yoga and probably didn't even know it. And we complain because we get caught in traffic on the Long Island Expressway. This poem was Nelson Mandela's favorite. When he lost courage, when he felt like giving up, lying down, and not getting up again, he would recite it. The words would give him what he needed to keep going. Invictus by William Ernest Henley. Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from soul to soul, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeoning of chance, my head is bloody but unbowed. Beyond the place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. Walk your talk, fly your vision. While we are on this earth plane in human form with an ego, the spiritual journey and the internal battle will never end. Most of the growth will be in relationship with others. That is the one thing I learned. There's only so much growth I can do sitting in my bedroom in lotus pose reading a good spiritual book. The real growth comes when we take that spiritual knowledge and apply it in our relationships. Then and only then can we really transform. That's when we become, as Emmett Fox says, the salt of the earth and the light of the world. The journey from your head to your heart or your mind to your soul is the longest journey you can make, even though it's the shortest distance. It's not just enough to know the path, it's about walking the path, but you have to know it first. Kids today know it. They are born knowing it and walking it. As screwed up parents and adults, we mess them up by allowing them to forget it. Then we spend our adult life having to unlearn what we learned and then relearn what we already knew, loosening and unraveling the threads and then weaving them back together again. Hopefully we can get it right for the next generation, so they won't have to spend so much time in therapy to figure out that they are already the love they are searching for and that they are perfect, whole, and complete just as they are. Then maybe the next generation will be born flying and forgo walking altogether. Many children coming to the planet now are here not to fit in, but to break out of the invisible walls that we've created around our minds, our hearts, our lives, and to create a new way of being and living that is congruent with our soul. They are the truth showers, the light and the way. I think it's our responsibility to honor children and their dreams, as well as to honor the child in each one of us and our dreams. Just as there is a purity and innocence within each child that we strive to nurture and protect, we must do the same with our own inner child. When we open our mind to the gift of imagination and curiosity of the child within, our lives become magical again, full of wonder and excitement. It is our soul, the purity of the divine, that keeps our light shining. Logic will take you from A to B, but imagination will take you all over the world. Wayne Dyer. Dream big, baby. The true sign of intelligence is not knowledge, but imagination. Albert Einstein. At the end of one of my spiritual sessions, my teacher had told me my homework was to dream big and to journal it. She said not to let limitations in my mind stop me from dreaming my biggest, wildest dreams. You would think this would be a fun assignment, but for me it was torture. Dream big, those two words drove me mad. I went home that day and had a blank screen in my mind as I sat in front of a blank page of paper. Limitations were what I knew. I hadn't thought about dreams since I was a child. Life just took such a beating on me that dreams were nowhere to be found. I had been functioning in a limited way of thinking for so long that those treads in my brain were etched deep. Learning how to jump out of those grooves and create new ones was a slow process, like waking up a sleeping giant. Slowly, years later, my dreams started to reemerge into my awareness. I am living one of them now, writing this book. I also remembered when I was a child, I used to imagine myself standing at a podium in front of thousands of people, giving an inspirational speech that moved people to heal themselves and the world. This coincided with what Blanche told me in my first astrology reading: public speaking for the masses. Maybe we don't have dreams, maybe they have us. However, along with the dormant parts of my mind that I hadn't used in years, something else started to awaken from the dark depths of muck, deep-rooted doubt and insecurity. I heard them say, "That's pretty grandiose of you, saving the world. Who do you think you are?" That voice was always there. How could I make it stop? I had this framed poem on my wall since I was 21. I didn't fully grasp the message, but something in me resonated with it. It was attributed to Nelson Mandela's 1994 inaugural speech. It wasn't until 20 years later, when I discovered Marianne Williamson, that I realized it was hers. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small doesn't serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. I get it now. I was shrinking my whole life. We live in a world where the scales have been off balance for a long time. We value information over revelation, fitting in over dreams and passion, technology over spirit, machines over God, the love of power over the power of love.